So I've gotten lots of questions asking me how my handwriting looks so nice that even my chemistry teacher wrote on an assignment that I turned in, like a little note. And of course I have a bullet journal, so these are some of the spreads I've worked on, and I'm just going to be sharing some tips with you guys that helped me improve my handwriting. There are two basic types of paper, graphed and line, and these are some benefits that you guys can decide whether you want to write on these ones or not. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be writing on graphed paper. So this is my normal handwriting, and here I'm just going to be writing the alphabet just so you guys know how I write every single letter, and also some numbers. And yes, I am one of those people that crosses their Z's and 7s. Most alphabets, if not all alphabets, contain lines and curves. That's basically what makes up the alphabet and your handwriting. So that's what we're going to be practicing. You're going to be drawing a bunch of lines on your paper, and that's why I kind of prefer graph paper, because then you can compare and see how straight your lines are. So go crazy with your lines, draw vertical, horizontal, diagonals, other diagonal, and keep practicing until your hand is just kind of used to it. Go ahead and make some art with it if you want to. Then just repeat the same thing, but with circles this time. Draw big circles, small circles, circles inside of the other circles, and yeah, just keep doing that until you're comfortable with it. And draw same size circles multiple times, because that's how you're going to be writing them with, like, for example, your D's or your B's. They have those little circles, and then all you need is just a straight line, and you've already improved your D's and B's. Keep in mind that this is your handwriting. There are different ways to write A's, Z's, M's, and other sorts of letters, and it's all your preference. This is your handwriting. This is basically your own kind of font, and it's not anyone else's font because they don't have your hand. They don't have your hand muscles. It's your handwriting. We've already gone over two of the basic components in handwriting, which is lines and curves, so now we're going to go over size and spacing. So there are different ways you can stretch out your letters, like vertically, horizontally, however you want. Like I said, it's your handwriting. And also time, it exists, and you need it to make your handwriting better. So start writing slowly first, and if you write fast right now, slow it down, because usually when you write fast, it just kind of ends up in chicken scratch, and that's not what we want. We want to make your handwriting neater, but we also want to make you write faster. Cursive, what they taught me in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. And this is me writing the alphabet, which I actually don't know. So this is me writing my own version of the cursive alphabet, because yeah, you can follow the fundamental, like, basic cursive alphabet, but also I kind of feel like it's difficult to write that way. So for my cursive, I kind of just do all lowercase whenever I can, just because that's how I write the fastest and the neatest. So cursive is basically just connecting your print letters so that they connect, and making cursive basically. And you want your cursive to be smooth, and typically they say to not lift your pen because that's how you write fastest, but I think that's a huge misconception. If you want to write like the Pinteresty fonts and calligraphy, you can lift your pen. That's basically the best way to do it if you want to make those cool titles for your bullet journals. I'm just going to use the word tsunami as an example, because I had that tsunami drawing on one of my mugs that I was drinking tea out of. Anyways, so like I said, lift between each letter or even each stroke, because, you know, it's okay. You need to take a break, and you need to plan out what you're going to actually write so you can actually see, and that's the best way you can improve your handwriting. Next, on all the downstrokes, you're gonna create double lines, so a line next to the downstroke. And this is just going to embolden and highlight your words to make it look like calligraphy. Here I just marked down the downstrokes on the word tsunami just as a guideline for you guys. Just remember that it's top to bottom, not bottom to top. Now just fill in the spaces, and honestly this part is optional. Sometimes I like how it looks blank, sometimes I like how it looks like fully colored in, but here I just kind of scribbled it to give it that more doodly look. Honestly, this is super helpful because it's a skill you can use for when you're making Christmas cards, and you can even use these brush pens, and I'll talk more about these later in the video, but it takes a little more skill, but you can definitely learn how to use these just to make it a little more faster. But don't go too fast, otherwise you're going to spell tsunami wrong like I did. But yeah, this is why you have to take your time. Don't rush it. You have to know what you're writing. You want to know what you're going to write before you actually do it. So last tip I have is that mistakes are okay. If you make a mistake, just cross it out, make that little loop, scribble it, or you can even use whiteout, but honestly whiteout leaves those like speckled things, even though it is like the neatest way to get rid of your marks. Honestly, my pens are super thin, so it just scratches through the whiteout. So sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. It depends on how I feel. I usually use the first line, the scribble loop thing. So I hope these tips were helpful for you guys. I hope you can improve your handwriting. And now I'm going to move on to the writing tools I use on how that affects my handwriting. So yeah, I have a lot of writing tools. This isn't even all of it, but I'm just going to start with pencils. So this is a Zebra Color Flight pencil. It has 0.5 lead. And I use this for math because it holds a better grip onto the lead and it has like a denser feel to it. And it also has a twistable eraser. And this is the Pilot Opt pencil. It is also 0.5, and I also use this for math because it has a grip and it also has a thicker barrel, so it allows more control. These are the Pilot Air blank pencils, and it has 0.3 lead. Yes, it exists. As you can tell, thinner pencils are kind of my thing. I don't use 0.7 really. I don't use 0.9 just because it's, I don't know. I just like how thinner pencils look. And this is also Pilot Corone pencil, and it has like a shake technology which pushes the lead out, which is super cool. Yeah, and the lead snaps really easily, so I would not use 0.3 if you have hard pressure when you write and like a strong grip. But if you do want to try 0.3, always have refills. These are the Pilot Juice Up pens, and this is what I used in the beginning half of this video. This is my go-to pen. This is my favorite pen of all time because it has a 0.3 tip and it is super dark. The Pilot Aggro pens are super good too. It is not as dark as the Juice Up pens, but it does write super smooth. And I also really like the size because it also fits in my wallet, so it's handy to keep in my bag. I actually don't use colored pens that much, but when I do, I use these ones from SM. I got them when I was in the Philippines, but I know you can get them on Amazon. Also don't know the size of it. It's either 0.5 or 0.7. I can't really tell. For calligraphy or cursive, I use Tombow mostly. These are the dual brush pens, the infamous ones you see on Pinterest or Instagram. And it's cool because it has a marker side and brush pen side, and I have the pastel set, and what's cool about their sets is that it comes with a lighter and a darker color and also a blender, so you can do that cool fade thing, and it just takes some practice, like I said, and time, and if you can't get it immediately, you'll eventually get there. It's not for me to say you. For writing in black ink, I use the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens, and this pen is super good for beginners, I think, because the hard tip makes it really easy to define like the thick lines and the thinner lines, and it makes calligraphy super easy. This is the Kuretake Fudeko Kochi brush pen that my friend gave me. Also, I'm sorry for abusing the Japanese, but I use this to make shadows on my calligraphy, and the ink is also very wet, so it's a bit of a different brush pen, but you can work around it, and I don't know, I think it's cool. Finally is the Jelly Roll Sakura pen, and I use this to make highlights on my calligraphy or to make bubble letters, because it really makes the letters seem like they're rising off the paper, and it also highlights your titles better, and it just adds a really cool effect, like shine, or like I said, like popping out. So yeah, those are all the stationery tools that I have to share with you guys. I'll try to find them and link them down below, but I hope you learned something from this video, and thanks for watching!
It's not for me to say.